What's up, guys? How's it going? It is Matt here. So, I'm going to get to the Glock Generation 5, guys. This is not clickbait, but there's something I want to cover really quick before I actually move on to that. Now, as gun owners, we need to be paying attention to what's going on at all times when it comes to Capitol Hill. As we know, today, if you guys haven't found out yet, the National Reciprocity Bill has actually passed committee and it's on its way to the House of Representatives. So get on the horn, write letters, talk to your representatives, talk to your senators, talk to your governors, say, I want this bill passed, all right? I want this bill passed, period. And this is the reason why. Now, as we know it, right now where our current gun laws are, if you have a permit in, say, like the state of Connecticut, I live in the state of Connecticut, if I were to drive across the state, the second I would get to state lines of New York, I could no longer legally be carrying a firearm, and if I was, I wouldn't be allowed to stop in the state whatsoever. But as it stands, I would not be able to cross into New York because I'd be breaking laws having a pistol on my body. Now, what this bill will do is it says to all the states out there, America has this thing called the Second Amendment, and you know it's there, and we know it's there, and we're going to start enforcing it by saying that if they've earned that permit in that state, that now that has to be recognized, just like a driver's license, just like a marriage license, across the rest of the country. It has to be recognized because we have a constitutional right that says we have the right to keep and bear arms, and it shall not be infringed. So, get on the horn, contact all your representatives, I already have, and tell them I want this passed through. I want my gun rights back. Go out and do that. Now, let's move on to Glock Generation 5. As you guys know, I am not the biggest Glock fan. I do like Glocks, but I don't hate them. I'm just not a huge fan of them, all right? I've owned a Glock 22 in the past. I thought it was a decent gun. I traded in for M&P. I like that better. As of currently, I'm going to be getting rid of all my striker fire pistols, and I'm going to be going to hammer fire pistols just because that's my personal preference. It is who I am. But I fully understand that there are people out there that love their striker fire pistols, whether it's Glock, M&P, PPQ, etc., etc., etc. You guys love your striker fired pistols. One of the biggest questions I constantly get is, Matt, have you heard whether or not Glock is going to be doing anything in Generation 5 other than a 9mm? It is a very common question that I've been getting on a daily basis. So I have an answer at the moment, okay? Currently, this is the answer that I have at a moment. A friend of mine is an armorer. He's been an armorer for a very long time. He actually took part in a Glock, an updated Glock armorer's class. It was kind of just getting updated. He spent an entire day at this armorer's class. Now, he came out today and said there's only one thing that he could actually take from the entire day of his armorer's training that he did. That is that currently, as it stands right now, Glock will not be producing anything other than a 9mm in the Generation 5 platform. And there's a very specific reason behind it, all right? If you guys remember, I said that I looked at the Glock Generation 5, I actually thought it was a very viable option. I liked how the pistol grip was beveled. I liked the grip, that they removed the bumps on it. I liked how it was curved in the front. I thought it looked good. I still think it's stupid that they put those plastic sights on it, but it is what it is. But overall, I said, if I were to get another striker fire pistol, I would consider this. And I recommended it. I said, if you like Glocks, go get yourself a Gen 5. I am taking that back, okay? Now, the reason behind that is, like I said, I'm not trying to be biased on this, guys. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to be honest with you. I'm trying to be truthful with you, okay? Basically, what he said is in the class, if you guys are familiar, the Glock Generation 5 model is a 2-pin system, and it does not have a locking block pin, okay? It doesn't have a locking block pin at all. The reason Glock will not be producing anything other than a 9mm in the Generation 5 platform is that the pistol's tolerance can't handle anything other than a 9mm, which means if it goes to a 40 caliber, it'll explode. If it goes to a 45, it'll explode. So right now, where Glock stands is they are not going to be producing anything in the near future, Generation 5 and other calibers. They're not going to be producing 22s, 21s, 23s. They're just not going to be producing it because the new model doesn't have the tolerances to handle the higher pressure loads. Now, what can we take from this? 99% of people, including me, when I have a 9mm, I do carry a 9mm, so I'm carrying on me right now, I usually use plus P ammunition. Most people use plus P ammunition or plus P plus ammunition because they want the highest pressure they possibly can, and they want a 9mm that does the most possible damage as it possibly can. The problem is if, I don't quote me on this, but if, in my philosophies, if it cannot handle something like a 40 caliber, and a plus P plus is kind of at a lower end, very lower end of a 40 caliber, standard 40 caliber, then you probably shouldn't be carrying plus P plus ammunition whatsoever in the Glock Generation 5. Plus P is probably pushing it. What that means is because of the low tolerances in this pistol, is it is going to get worn down very quickly. It is going to break, okay? It is going to break if you start running all that high pressure crap through it on a daily basis. So I would probably refrain from doing that. If you really want that stuff, you're gonna have to go back to Glock Generation 4 until they change it, okay? Until they change the Gen 5 model. That is where it stands at the moment. If you guys remember, prior to releasing the Generation 5, it was the XM17 military trials, and Glock had submitted a pistol for those trials. It was kind of between the Generation 4 and the Generation 5. The Generation 5 is basically based off of that model. I remember the exact designation of it. Now, a federal agency picked up, I'm not sure if it was a federal agency or a law enforcement agency, but they picked up that specific pistol model. And while they're out training with it, the slide was breaking and shooting off the pistol, and the frame was getting damaged. And they were only using the standard 9mm ammo and the plus P plus ammunition. So the Generation 5 is directly based off of that specific model. So I can't, on good conscience, recommend a Generation 5, because in my mind, if you have a polymer pistol, polymer frame pistol, it needs to be able to handle those higher pressures, because as it is, it's already weaker than a steel framed or aluminum framed pistol. So it needs to have the tolerances for those higher pressures. And if someone is out there, whether a trainer or whatever it is, and they're constantly running this plus P ammunition or plus P plus ammunition through it, it is going to become a safety hazard, okay? So on good conscience, I am not going to recommend the Generation 5 anymore as a good, viable option. I would stick with the Generation 4. If you are stuck on the Generation 5, I probably recommend you stay with like 124 grain jacketed hollow point and don't do any plus P or plus P plus stuff, just to be safe, okay? It'll get the job done the same with that, okay? So I'm just gonna throw it out there. You guys can like it, you can hate me, I don't care what it is. I'm just always about telling you guys the truth no matter what, okay? So anyway, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me. Guys, please, once again, let's get this bill passed. Contact your representatives, contact your leaders, tell them we want this bill passed. Anyway, guys, remember, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other. Peace.